Dualcaster Mage Combo? Apparently not just for Commander. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today Zyzeron has asked me to brew a Dualcaster Mage combo deck list. Now this is a relatively common combo card in Commander, but this is a 3-card combo that requires you to have 5 mana at the same time. So you're basically not going to see this combo at all in Legacy, but we're going to give it the good old college try today. So here's how the combo works. You need a creature in play, doesn't matter what, and you're going to cast Molten Duplication on that creature, although any similar card such as Heat Shimmer will work the same way. In response to casting Molten Duplication, you're going to hold priority and flash in your Dualcaster Mage. Dualcaster Mage is going to copy Molten Duplication, making a copy of Dualcaster Mage, and this process is going to repeat for infinite numbers of hasty Dualcaster Mages that can swing in for lethal. So the challenge here is, how do we get 5 mana at the same time? And how do we turn Molten Duplication into a reasonable Magic the Gathering card when we don't have Dualcaster Mage in hand? And similarly, how do we use Dualcaster Mage when we don't have Molten Duplication? Lifetime Dualcaster Mage had 2 legacy finishes when I went to do my research for building this deck, so we had to build from scratch. And by from scratch, I mean we're going to use the Red Prison Shell. It's actually not me just throwing 8 cards into this shell. I actually put a lot of thought into this. My rationale was, what's the most busted artifact we can copy for when we don't have the ability to do the creature-based thing? And my answer was the One Ring. So we are going to have a soft lock on the game with the One Ring in many cases. What we can do is tap the one, play the One Ring, get a turn of protection, draw a card. Next turn, draw 2 cards. Hopefully, in the 3 cards that we've drawn from One Ring or our draw step, we find a Molten Duplication. The Molten Duplication can then fog, draw another card by creating a copy of the One Ring, and we can repeat this process. So the idea is that we can just keep playing One Rings indefinitely until we find our combo. And I'm sure that at this point, you've seen Pyroglyphs stack. Well, if you make copies of Pyroglyph, the original Pyroglyph and the token copy both are going to trigger and send a bunch of damage at Dome. So we have actually turned Molten Duplication into a rather respectable card. And as far as Dualcaster Mage goes, under the Chrome box, bud. That was about the best that I could come up to do with Dualcaster Mage, is pitch it to Fury or put it under a Chrome box. I needed a respectable creature count in this deck to make sure that I could realistically have a creature of my own to Molten Duplication to kick off the combo. I really think the Trinispheres should be in the Game 1 deck, but like, we're memeing today, as we frequently are on this channel, so I think that's fine. We have Magus on the Moon, Blood Moon, and Chalice, which can potentially steal us some easy free wins for Game 1, and this Molten Duplication combo will probably a couple times in this league come out of nowhere and just get some kills when my opponent thinks they are safe to pass the turn. As far as the sideboard goes, because I'm doing Dualcaster Mage Molten Duplication stuff, I am kind of locked into playing 8 cards that probably should just be in my main deck in the sideboard, which means that I have to make some cuts somewhere. And I am opting to have a set of 12 cards that I could bring in for just about any matchup, for if some of these things like Blood Moon, Magus, Chalice, or the Dualcaster Mage Molten Duplication combo don't line up well for a particular matchup. This does mean that I am not playing Graveyard Hate today. This does mean that I am not playing Answers to Artifacts today. So, open to dodge, basically. Just for the sake of laying this out, let's move these over here. So our deck is a little under 50% mana, which means it's very realistic for us to get to the 5 mana that we need to do the Dualcaster Mage combo. If I'm worried about anything, it's getting red, 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 not 5 mana. But that's what the Blood Moon and Maguses are for. So there's a decent amount of thought put into this deck, not just like, haha, change 8 cards, it's a deck now. Legacy's changing quickly. Fantasticar is warping a lot of things. I'm still having a lot of fun playing Legacy, to be clear. But if you need your Force of Vigors or Force of Despairs or anything else for the current metagame, please consider getting them from my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. And when you do, use promo code ThrabenU to save yourself a little bit on the order. With that being said, let's battle. Hello, Phil from the future here. I made a rules mistake from the intro. Molten Duplication is making a token copy. You are not casting that token copy, so you don't actually get the One Ring protection. My brain defaulted to, oh, this works like Curse Smear in Commander, and that is not actually the case. Second, my recommended round is the final round of this video. I do not want to spoil why. You'll know why I recommended this round when you see it. With that being said, enjoy the show. First opening hand seems too fair to me. Like, I have a reasonable mix of lands and spells, but like I have a Pyroglyph that's going to be small because I'm not putting things into graveyard. I don't think I am into this. This'll do. I think I keep this, and I'm going to pitch one of these 2 cards. I think I'm going to pitch the Molten Duplication. It's real good with the One Ring, but I don't know that this One Ring is going to be in my hand by the time we get to that. Ooh, well, now it probably is. Go ahead and play out one of these tapped and pass the turn. The jig is kind of up as to what we are doing. Shatterskull Smashing pretty much just means one thing. Of note in terms of expected results today, fully powered red Stompy is something like 0.4% of the metagame right now. This deck is dead. We've got a swamp that looks an awful lot like a forest to me, and Quantum Riddler in maybe a Dimir or Esper shell. We're jamming. My opponent has a basic already and opted not to fetch... Oh, wow. Not to fetch another. See how this plays out from here. Do you have an island already in hand? You do. So the power of this is dampened a lot. This is what I was talking about with really needing the Game 1 Trinispheres. Alright, I can Sundering Eruption a land and try to cut my opponent off of colors, but if I do that, I can't play One Ring Pyroglyph. So life's awkward. I think I need to play Sundering Eruption. I'm going to go for the island so that my opponent can't cantrip to help transform the Fantasticar. Please don't have another one. Nice. Okay, that was expected. The good news here is opponent couldn't transform the Fantasticar last turn. So we are going to hope that that remains true. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. I need to draw a land. Counterspell your own Fantasticar. Main deck consign. Yeah, okay. So that's the angle my opponent is taking. Consign for Quantum Riddler and opposing Fantasticars. Land. Not land. Dead. Alright. Opponent got us through Blood Moon and a Sinkhole. GG. 4x Trinisphere. In. I don't know that I'm excited about Chalice of the Void. How do I feel about Squelcher? Not terrible. I think not terrible. There is something to be said about uncounterable Trinisphere being a sack of shit. How do I want to approach Blood Moons? I think I can play 8, 5, or 0. I think for the game that I'm on the play, I'm going to send the full 8. I'm going to board out Dualcaster Mage for the game on the play and just try to send something on turn 1 that beats my opponent. And then for the game that I'm on the draw, I'm going to bring that combo back in. Yes. Does the Molten Duplication go under Chrome Mox? I think it does. I think I'm going, yeah. This is not sending something on turn 1 like I wanted to, but I think I'm fine playing the game out like this. Yeah. And Squelch. And then I have uncounterable One Ring on turn 2, and we'll figure it out from there. It's a disaster if I don't just send the One Ring on turn 1 and my opponent Thoughtseizes me. Alright, no Thoughtseize. Could be Consign, though. I guess that doesn't matter so much, right? Alright, opponent takes the hit. Opponent doesn't take the hit. Fatal Push. You've got it. Opponent still takes 2. I think I need to Squelch again. I'm so afraid of everything here. Like, I'm afraid of just taking 16 to the face, and I'm afraid of Thoughtseize ruining my life. And I think I have to play the Squelcher to make it so that my One Ring is more likely to resolve. Like, I think that matters a lot. There's a Misty. I'm not just going to get pushed again. Okay, cool. Then my One Ring is resolving unless we get into something weird like Snuff Out. Flute is cool. I think that's much worse than just playing the One Ring this turn, but there's timelines where I can still cast Flute this turn, right? I guess if I draw like Ancient Tomb specifically. All right, Ring in play. Draw a card. I don't think I am going to play that. I think that goes under Chrome Mox a lot of the time. All right, opponent cantrips. And we've got Preordain in there as just another cantrip to chain into cantrips for Fantastic Art purposes. Bottom, great. Underground Sea. Fuck. Opponent is just going to, like, make their oh, it's Barrowgoyf. Okay. Could be worse. Nice. So, draw cards. Play Broadside. Go to Punchies. Attack, Broadside, target Goyf. Throw the One Ring at it. Hit in for 4. Opponent goes to 11. Drop a mountain. Play Disruptor Flute. I think I'm more worried about another Barrowgoyf than I am the Fantasticar. My opponent has 3 cards. It's hard for them to transform the Fantasticar right now. I'm just going to try to keep my opponent from playing another Barrowgoyf. Opponent has 2 basics. They've naturally drawn both. There's Riddler. Opponent brainstorms in response to the trigger. Cute. And then hopefully they don't have Consign. Ooh. So, this being 6 is rough. This is a land destruction spell. I don't think that's super relevant. My opponent's flying creature could still block. Daggers. All right. Here is Trinisphere. And I think I'm going to send in with my Menace creature, hit my opponent, and then throw Trinisphere at their face. Put them to 4, and we're just trying to limp over the finish line. There is Flow State. Okay, opponent is passing. So I am hoping that I get to attack with Broadside. This is just Lava Axe to the face. This is the moment. Brazen Borrower. That will cost my opponent 2 life. Yep. So that'll keep them alive for this turn. However, I can just redeploy this immediately while my stuff is still uncounterable. Throw Sundering Eruption under there, and redeploy. Now my opponent can't use a removal spell on any of my creatures, and Broadside getting to attack is lethal by throwing anything. Alright, GG. Now that my opponent is on the play, my Blood Moon effects get worse, so we're going to get the Molten Duplication Dualcaster Mage stuff back in here. Sideboard out 3 Magus. What does this look like? Pretty reasonable. I could also not Disruptor Flute and keep Magus just legitimately as a creature that helps me get to red. I buy that. I'd love to see Trinisphere in the opening hand here. Yes. Keeperino. Underground Sea comes down. And a Thoughtseize. There's timelines where this just takes Simian Spirit Guide. I view the Spirit Guide as the best card in my hand. It's what lets me play one of these on turn 1 and the other on turn 2. But it really depends on what resources my opponent has. Spirit Guide. From the top rope! Damn. You gotta call the shots or they don't happen. Tapped land. Pass turn. Opponent gets their chance to do something broken before I start throwing haymakers at them. That gets to fetch 1 basic. I think as of right now, I am playing Magus of the Moon first. It's a little weird, because like fetch Fatal Push is a thing. I think I am good with doing this. I don't think the game is currently about you. I don't want to pass the turn to my opponent and then they get the basic swamp. So I think I am going to go for Magus here. It's a little awkward because fetch Fatal Push is a thing. And I can play around it by playing Trinisphere, but then I give my opponent just naturally the chance to play around Magus of the Moon by fetching another basic land. And if they do have Fatal Push, this puts them in a situation where the next Magus of the Moon is quite good. There is Flow State. And now on my next turn, I can play Trinisphere and Magus of the Moon in some order. Dualcaster Mage is not super castable this specific turn. I think I am playing Magus of the Moon first, so that if this fetches Swamp Consign doesn't counter Trinisphere. The whole City of Traders mana situation is real weird, though. I need to float mana with this prior to Magus of the Moon resolving. So let's see what my opponent does. They do get the basic. I need to stay in this phase. It is Force of Will. Alright, we got a Quantum Riddler out of that. That's fine. Hopefully my opponent doesn't naturally have the island again. Come on. Those are singletons. Alright. My Magus keeps me from casting Pyrogoyf, which is rough. I'm hoping my opponent just casts a reasonable spell that I can copy with Dualcaster Mage. Yeah. I will copy a Flow State. Yeah. Our Flow State, comrade. Broadside is cool. Land for Pyrogoyf might be cooler. I think I'm going to do land for Pyrogoyf. I think that's a pretty close decision. My deck's like 50% mana, so I could try to greed and take Broadside. But the Ancient Tomb also or rather any land bridges me to One Ring as well. I'm punished super hard by that Thoughtseize. I will get cracked for 4 by a fair Fantasticar. 16. Now the Broadside looks way better. That is what it is. Opponent is down to 7. And we just see if they can transform the Fantasticar through Magus of the Moon. I'm more scared of Barogoyf right now than I am the Fantasticar, I think. Alright, maybe that's not true anymore. I'm at exactly 16 life, by the way. That is a Preordain. So an artifact or a black castable spell gets my opponent there. That was bottom. Am I safe? Nope. Alright, we gave it a shot. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I love them. I have over 1,000 deck lists here. And I think the thing that I like the most about them is they're more than just a basic deck builder. If you need information about your next pre-release or where you can get cards, they have that sort of stuff here too. Whether you need to manage your collection or just a couple of decks, Moxfield does it all. So go check them out. Alright, as far as opening hands goes, a lock piece without a follow-up is usually not a keep, unless you already know the matchup. I'm gonna mulligan this. This one is fine. I think we just send Magus of the Moon on turn 1. Let's throw a Broadside back into the deck for later. Definitely hoping to cheese a game 1 win here. Romux. Imprint Molten Duplication. Send Magus of the Moon. Alright, it's stuck. So question 2 is, how good was that? This land. Play this. The disaster case is Bolt Days, which didn't happen. Hell yeah. Opponent to 16. Okay. Looks like I probably get a free game 1 here. Opponent can still draw a bolt or whatever. Or opponent could still be like show and tell and find like land Lotus Petal and get me that way. We're chilling. I don't think I'm throwing my Chrome Mox or anything here. Alright, cool. We got the free game 1. And now the question is, Delver or show and tell? Because, like, my evaluation of Fury and Trinisphere are very different in those matchups, right? The correct thing to do is probably board out the Dualcaster Mage combo, just objectively. I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to go down on Blood Moons, up on Hexing Squelchers. Man, Molten Duplication copying a Fury is sick if this is Delver. I could pull Magus for Fury. Like, I know that I just got a free one on the back of Magus of the Moon, Blood Moon effects. I don't know that that gets to happen again, especially on the draw. I think I'm going to hedge for Delver. And if I'm wrong, we still have kind of a reasonable looking deck, and we can still just fling Fury with Broadside to try to finish off show and tell. This is probably fine. Blooded Strand. Yeah, that's why the Blood Moon stuff went out. I could reconsider it for the game that I am on the play. I think, yeah. I think I'm still going to imprint this. Do another one of these. Imprint one of the Sundering Eruptions. And do Chalice on 1 around days. Fantastic. We score 2 freebies in a row off of prison pieces. Fuck. We made the wrong call. Alright, so this is show and tell. I think I'm doing this. And jamming a ring now. I'll just play another one next turn if this doesn't resolve. Oh shit, it just resolved. Nice. Draw. Alright, my opponent doesn't get to cantrip with traditional cantrips, but the flow state, stock up style cards just get to work still. So I do need to find something that will clock and kill my opponent. That Pyroglyph. Pyroglyph is not particularly great right now. This might be just hardcast Fury. It chonks for 6. I will have to damage myself here to do this. And pass the turn. Fury into like a broadside off of the... Oh, nice. No red mana here for something like Show and Tell, or Sneak Attack or Stronghold's Gambit here either. Nice! That was one of my specifically requested cards. Okay, we cheesed games on the back of lock pieces there. We'll take it. That's what they're there to do. GG's, we are 1-1. 4 of a kind, baby. That might just represent a basic island that makes this hand absolute butts. No! Alright. That is what it is. I don't think I am capable of mulliganing the 4 of a kind. Whoa. Meticulous Archive in the face of Shatterskull? That's a decision. Blood Moon is better than Magus of the Moon. Blood Moon doesn't die to swords. One fetches, gets a basic, and dazes. I unfortunately do not have a spirit guide. Not Wasteland. But this does mean that my opponent has basics now, which is rough. Fuck, it's this again? This all is a little late now. I still think I'm doing it, because, like, cantrip chaining is a thing. My kingdom for the Trinispheres. Alright, cool. Opponent passes. So this can now be a land. It doesn't cost me life here. I think I'm just going to get some redundancy for this Blood Moon on the off chance that there's some Brazen Borrower type card that can take it out of play. And then we can start thinking about, like, broadside finish the game. Alright, that's a swords. I get whacked for 4. I'm going to play out Magus of the Moon. This is a funny looking lava axe, I think. I think the plan will ultimately be to throw those with broadside. That is Fantasticar to transform Fantasticar into a creature. I will get hit for 4 again. 14. Now I am on broadside. In for 4. Throw it? This might just be throw it. Opponent to 8. Like, I need to respect my own life total decreasing here. The next turn I can attack for 4 with haste. Put my opponent to 4. And then throw broadside. And that will be lethal. Alright, opponent passes. Pyroglyph a thing as well. I have to worry about my opponent casting 4 spells on my own turn. That is a thing. I also have to respect days. So I think I am firing off the broadside. That is a Force of Will pitching Murktide. I will send in for 2. Opponent to 5. Now, any of my creatures resolving is Lava Axe to face, or Pyroglyph resolving is just lethal at this point as well. That's a swords. I'll gain 2 and then get hit for 4. I'll end up at 12. This is lethal. I don't know that I go for this immediately. Daze exists. But then again, so does my opponent chaining 4 spells together. I could One Ring first. That always buys me the turn. If it resolves, my opponent could have main deck consigns. Let's One Ring. This will be my bait for the counter. Alright, I could have won the game here. And then next turn I will have Pyroglyph around days, and I can't die to getting 16'd by the Fantasticar here. Brainstorm, and opponent passes. Oh, that's kind of funny. All right. I don't have a creature in play to do the Dualcaster Mage thing yet. This may just end up being another One Ring if Pyroglyph does not resolve. So 4 mana for Pyroglyph. This is a lethal trigger. Okay, cool. We get there versus the Fantasticar deck. So my opponent's got like Fantasticars and Murktides. Fury is not answering that stuff. I'm probably looking at Squelchers and Trinispheres coming in. I can think about Flute, but it looks like my opponent is going to have a solid mid-range plan as well, so I don't know that I want to like fully just go in on trying to stop the Fantasticar alone. Every time I need the Trinispheres, the Dualcaster Mage Combo gets so much worse. Like, 5 mana is too much for Legacy, and 6 mana is brutal. I could get rid of Blood Moons on the draw? I don't know. I don't hate Blood Moon. Taking my opponent off of blue matters both for Murktide and Fantasticar. Molten Duplication on Broadside is not terrible either. I'm gonna pull Molten Duplication and be unhappy about it. I need more mana. Like, this is incredible if I spike a land. Am I willing to roll the dice? I probably shouldn't, but the land can be on my first or second turn. All right, let's keep this for science. This just stacks up so hard versus the fair side of my opponent's deck. Oh, Tamiyo is in there as well. All right, Magus is not what I am looking for. Squelcher gets in there. And now I'll kind of be 50-50 for whether or not I am playing Magic. Need to hit a mana source with the next draw. Also, having to worry about Tamiyo means that Fury is slightly more attractive, but it lines up so poorly versus Murktide and Fantasticar that I don't know that I'm actually game for that. Oh, we've got Ancient Tomb in there as well. All right, Magus of the Moon, Blood Moon stocks just went up. Now that I have that piece of information. All right, land. Oh, right, Tamiyo gets to just transform right now. Disgusting. Fuck. All right. This will be a non-game of Magic that my opponent should handily win. Polluted Delta comes down. Oh, all right. Tamiyo pluses. Fetching. Sure seems like I'm about to take 16. Yep, that'll be the 16. I will concede to 16 power plus Tamiyo. GG. I can now consider Disruptor Flute for Tamiyo. I think I'm just hoping to cheese a win via a lock piece. Honestly, I don't know that I can fight over all of my opponent's different angles effectively. I would like to go faster than this. I will mulligan. This is another hand that just might not play Magic or not drawing mana. I think I'm going to keep it and hope to choose a win with Chalice or Trinisphere. Do I keep Chrome Mox number 2, which has nothing to imprint, or One Ring? I think I keep One Ring. Then this conceptually has a follow-up play to the lock pieces. Chalice on 1 sticks. Tamiyo is offline. All the other nonsense is still good to go. One has Baubles in there as well. They'll get a redraw off of that. I miss my mana. And opponent is going to work towards Murktide Regent being an out. Do I play a Chalice on 0 so their Baubles don't resolve at the cost of making my remaining copies of Chrome Mox not live? I think I do. Weird spot, because I'm 1 mana away from those cards being less relevant as well. Alright. Freebie win? Not if I don't draw more mana. The opponent can just keep discarding and casting stuff and eventually Murktide me, and I don't really have outs to Murktide. Fuck. Neither one of us is playing Magic for very different reasons. Alright. Magic as Richard Garfield intended, folks. What an embarrassment. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yes. 3-ball. If you've got a counterspell, it's eating this. Daze is acceptable. I will try again next turn. That Tundra can come right back down. Land drop. 3-ball. Alright, 3-ball is in play. My opponent will not be able to counter my stuff from here, so I will stick a Magus of the Moon, and we are donezo. Alright, Lock Pieces beats the Fantasticar, which is great. We're 2-1, but the Dualcaster Mage combo is not pulling its weight here, which honestly is expected. GG's. Alright, opening hand is fine here. I've got a little bit of wiggle room for how exactly I play this out. Shoving a Blood Moon on turn 1 is pretty likely as of right now against lands. Wasteland is quite good. Less good now. That worked out very, very favorably for me. So now I will just go ahead and Chrome Mox, imprint 1 copy of Shatterskull Smashing probably. I don't know, the Molten Duplication is very, very bad right now. I'll play to the timelines where it's slightly better. So I'm going to stick a Blood Moon, but that might be answered quickly. Expedition Map can search up a Boseiju if my opponent already has access to green in some capacity. Otherwise, it can search up a basic land and let my opponent cast at least some spells. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that can get Boseiju. Yeah, opponent answers Blood Moon. I think they should do it now so I don't get to keep an extra land under Blood Moon. There's also timelines where my opponent searches up a Dark Depths, puts it in play with no counters, and then finds a way to remove this Blood Moon later. I don't think that's going to happen, but, like, it's a thing that exists. So, land into play. I now have to choose what I'm imprinting. I think I'm going to keep Molten Duplication for 1 ring. This Pyroglyph is a 1-2 right now. It'll have 2 power next turn when an artifact goes under. I think I can probably do grosser things with Molten Duplication here. And the infinite combo is perhaps on the table this game. Yeah, like copying a broadside is totally fine. That represents a ton of damage. Oh, do you have crop rotation? Fuck me. That's crop rotation for Dark Depths, Expedition Map for Boseiju. Okay. Alright. That's pretty much the disaster case. Molten Duplication for the 1 ring is very real right now. I again think that my opponent should be Boseijuing so that I don't get these bonus land drops into play. So yeah, draw cards. The new 1 ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. So let's do the thing I'm always doing. Oh wait, does this work? This isn't a clone effect like I'm used to. Oh, I don't think this works. Yeah, this doesn't work. I'm not actually looping protection. I'm a liar. Whatever, it'll give someone something to talk about in the comments. So I guess that means instead, I'm doing this to buy a turn, keeping this one, drawing a card, passing. Alright, opponent does not Boseiju. Alright, they're just going to pass right back. There's a new Blood Moon. I'm going to get Boseiju'd in response to this. Do I have lethal? Broadside attacks for 4, fling 11. Does not seem like lethal. I am at 18. Okay, so I think my out is my opponent not responding to this Blood Moon. Yeah. This does, I guess, give me more mana. I'm still a mana short of Molten Duplication, unfortunately. Broadside. Broadside. Menace, you don't get to block. 16. Throw that. Throw a broadside. Be dead. Literally 1 mana off from being dead, unfortunately. Ugh, that was rough. GG. My opponent got very lucky there with the cards that they happen to have. Disruptor Flute is going to come in. Chalice of the Void isn't super potent here, especially on the draw. I will probably play a Hexing Sculpture or a Fury to round out my deck and keep the Molten Duplication combo. Play 1 Fury. Urza Saga is a thing that exists. I don't think I like this one. I have 3 Dualcaster Mages and no ability to cast them. This will be a mulligan. This is not very good. This might be 5. I think this is 5. Oh my god. Alright. Sometimes you just lose. I am on 4 cards at this stage. I can, try to keep this. I need another creature in play for this combo to be live, so I don't really think that works. I can keep 3 lands, or I can mulligan and attempt to get something that produces a turn 1 Blood Moon effect, which is what I'm going to do. This is a turn 2 Blood Moon effect. This is about the best that I could hope for. Mountain Pass. Now, as we saw last game, the Blood Moon effects are, like, in no capacity a guaranteed win versus this deck. We're not locking our opponent off of colors. And my Ancient Tomb is going to die. Already pretty awful. That is a Disruptor Flute. 50-50. Do we win the flip? Fuck, we lose the flip. This now costs 3 more to cast. It's not happening. I don't play out my Ancient Tomb because of Wasteland. We mulled to 3, kept something that could turn to Magus of the Moon, and then my opponent won a coin flip. That's super unfortunate. Malevolent Rumble. Fuck, finds life from the loom. Uh-huh. Yep. Opponent gets a Mox Diamond there as well. Seems good. And Expedition Map. So now if I top deck the Blood Moon, it's not live anymore. I mean, how long do I want to keep playing this? I mean, just such an awful spot here. Opponent Loams. Plays the Yavimaya. Okay. Yeah. Yikes. Okay. And, like, there's onboard Expedition Map for Boseiju. I think I am going to assume that my opponent easily wins the game from here and save myself 10 minutes. GG's. This is now 2-2. Alright. I don't have an Ancient Tomb, which I would love. I would love even more than I thought. But I've got a Spirit Guide, and I'm going to accept that as reasonable acceleration. This is also a spell that I can cast. Do an ETB tapped land here as to not eat the 3 life later, pass the turn, and then intend on using Magus of the Moon next turn in all likelihood. So much combo in this league. I forget the exact number. Are you Car 2? God damn it. Trinisphere! I'm sorry for forsaking you. So much for shutting off my opponent's fucking lands. So I am just dead to Car. And I don't have a 1 ring to save me. Alright, good stuff. GG. Let's just assume that this stuff has to come out, unfortunately. Like, I got turn 2'd. I'm never going to set this up. I think I need flutes here, and I'll probably fill slots with Fury. I basically need a turn 1 play, or I think I'm dead a lot of the time. I say as I keep a hand that has a turn 2 play. Like, Magus would not have stopped my opponent from doing Fantastic Art combo that time. I think my Blood Moon effects aren't good enough. I don't know that I mulligan this. Like, my opponent is going to have other angles to their deck that Magus reasonably shuts off. Do I take 2 to play Ancient Tomb in case my opponent has removal like Dismember so that I'm not chilling with a City of Traders in play? I think so. There's a Magus. I'll pass. Excellent. Let's see how crazy this all gets. I will now play out a broadside. My opponent is going to shut off, so I guess I'm happy that I did not play out Chrome Mox. I'll send in for 4. Opponent to 16. Opponent plays a land. Doesn't do anything. I think I'm going to blow up a land here. It's very weird if this does give my opponent mana. Another Disruptor Flute. Naming Pyroglyph reasonable. No basic to be found. Down to 12. Considering Chalice on 0 for Lotus Petal. Considering Chalice on 3 potentially next turn for Fantastic Art directly. It's, like, very weird with the Chrome Mox in hand, but I don't think the Chrome Mox is doing anything. I don't know exactly what my opponent's build looks like, so womp womp. City to play. In for 4. Opponent to 8. 4th land drop. That is the 1 ring. So my opponent gets a turn of Fog. I will play that as a land because Pyroglyph for a bunch of mana is a thing. I have 6 of the 7 I need. Opponent will take 1 from the 1 ring, and then draw a bunch of cards. There's an Urza Saga. Grim Monolith. Ooh, I don't get 16'd by the Fantastic Art. That's great. I suspect that I now go to combat, try to punch my opponent, see if Kozilek's command happens. If it does, Pyroglyph is bigger post-combat. Alright. Magus is off. In with Broadside, who sadly can't activate their abilities. Opponent will go ahead and take the blocks. Are we doing this again? We are doing this again. Oh man, I get to do such a cool line. This is sick. Hieroglyph is a 4/5 as of right now. Again? God damn it. My opponent can stop me from having lethal if they see the line, which I'm hoping they don't because they have a third Kozilek's command. So I cast this, it goes to graveyard. This gets to lethal size. So I need my opponent to not realize that they can... I think I use the Spirit Guide from hand. That they can shrink Pyroglyph by using the last Kozilek's command to remove things from my graveyard. 5+2 lethal. Ooh, they missed it. Nice. That is very lucky. GG's. I don't have enough experience playing versus this specific build to know how to evaluate some of my things like Chalice. And I really don't want to be jamming Magus of the Moon. Like, I don't think I mulligan it or anything. Like, I have Magus and 2 Sundering Eruptions, but this is conceptually not what I want to be doing. I think I just need to play Magus before that's active. It's just, like, awkward, because if I take this line, sometimes my opponent just goes land, Lotus Petal, Fantasticar, Bobble Bobble, or equivalent, and I die. Or, like, Grim Monolith Car, a couple of things, and I die. I'm assuming that this is a land. I get it in untapped while I can. Alright, next land drop. Don't do it. Glaring Fleshraker instead. Still bad. Still bad. I think I am not attacking into that. Do I Sundering Eruption? I think I just Trinisphere and pass turn. Opponent has the next land drop. We'll see what nonsense they can chain together here. Ye old Lotus Petal. Slightly worse at 4 mana. I think we are doing Sundering Eruption on the enchantment land here to put extra card types into graveyard to make Pyroglyph better. Now these can't block. Magus can truck on in for 2. There's a new Urza Saga. That is the Fantasticar. And I'll take 2 from Glaring Fleshraker's attack. 1 ring is cool. I suspect that I need to remove Glaring Fleshraker. And I think I'm going to attack in with Magus of the Moon. Under the understanding that shit can go south if my opponent has Kozilek's command. Where, like, this gets turned into a 4/4. If they just cast it for 0 for 3 mana. This is a bunch of mana. I think my opponent had the Kozilek command and missed the line that would have blown me out and taken away this Magus. Alright. So they will take away the Magus a different way. And they're using the spawns for Mox Opal. I swear, if they do the Fantasticar through Trinisphere, I'm going to be pissed. That is another Kozilek's command for X equals 3. My opponent can cast another spell and 16 me. Uh-huh. What an absolute load of horse shit. This Fantasticar thing is going to be fun for a month. But this is, like, very clearly not healthy. And that is a 2-3 finish to this league, where the wins and losses were basically fully decided by lock pieces. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I got excited during deck construction that this could copy artifacts, and I was like, ooh, cool, I can loop the 1 ring. And then I missed the fact that you're not actually getting the protection from that, which is kind of a deal breaker. So that was a deck construction error. Don't build your meme decks at 6 in the morning, apparently. Dualcaster Mage got us a flow state in this league. Molten Duplication was 1 mana short from getting us a triple broadside attack. But this game was fully, like, this entire league was just, do I have the right lock piece for my opponent's hand? And the answer was frequently, no, I do not. We lost to some ridiculous situations, like our opponent having the ability to have crop rotation and Boseiju to have Dark Depths to answer our Blood Moon situation. That was relatively unlikely. I did not feel like I was doing something powerful today. I could have mulliganed a little bit more aggressively, but trying to fit in Dualcaster Mage Molten Duplication into this deck at the cost of Trinisphere is devastating. So the fully powered version of this deck is, like, struggling in this metagame. And again, it's like 0.4% of the format, so basically a non-factor. So, like, playing the meme version of this deck was a tough sell. There were cool things in this deck, like Molten Duplication, Pyroglyph with haste. We just like didn't play that stage of the game where you like cast a 4-drop and untap with it. That was just fully not on the table. We played against like 3 or 4 Fantastic card decks in this league, which I think is going to be pretty common for Legacy right now. So I gave it my best effort. In thinking of other ways you could build it, you could try to go like a Seething Song route to get to 5 mana for Dualcaster Molten Duplication. The problem is that you might just want to use that Seething Song to power out things like lock pieces, and then you don't have it to execute your combo. And you also just need a bunch of creatures in your deck to have Molten Duplication targets for, and I succeeded at having 20 creatures here. If you try to go like Dualcaster Mages, Molten Duplications, Twin Flames, like what are the creatures you put in your deck at that stage? Hexing Squelcher seems pretty obvious, but I don't know what else you do. Maybe there's some Wild Red Hate Bear that is good against the Fantastic card that could be an angle you could take, but I think you just need Chalice, Trinisphere, Magus, and the Moon Stompy cards to steal wins. And if those are the cards that are going to be winning you the game, why aren't you focusing on those more? Like, what is the point of doing the Dualcaster Molten Duplication thing? Anyway, I am not surprised that Dualcaster Mage has 2 lifetime results in Legacy. We did our best. Our best was not good enough. Fantastic Car is really good. I'm going to go take a screenshot of me losing to the Fantastic Car with Trinisphere in play, post it on social media. Then I'm going to find myself some lunch, and then we'll get back in the queues with something else. All right, folks, I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!